Yeah, hello everybody. While we're waiting for the picture to show up, I can start introducing myself. My name is Johan Gromark, and I'm a brand consultant from Sweden. I'm also an associate at the Business and Design Lab at Göteborg University in Sweden. And I have been here only for 2 days. I have learned to love your food already, and of course your hospitality. But I have not learned Portuguese yet. So you have to stand with my Swinglish, and that is a combination of Swedish and English. So until next year, when I come back, I promise I will have learned Portuguese. But I think you will understand anyway, because branding is a universal language. Someone actually called it the true business Esperanto. So I think you will understand anyway. So that was me. The theme for my presentation today is 100 million reasons for branding. So my aim is to give you some inspiration for your own branding process, and of course some really good arguments for branding. Since in many companies branding is viewed as a cost today and not as an investment, and therefore companies do not allocate enough resources and give it the attention that it should have. So that is my ambition, to give you some arguments that you can take with your board or your CEO to really focus on these issues. Because as you are marketers, the most of you here, I know you are interested in this matter. But before I start with my presentation, I would like to make a little quiz that I think most of you in here know the answer to. What is the world's most valuable brand? I heard something there. Coca-Cola? Yeah, of course, it's Coca-Cola. And there are different ways of measuring brand equity, but the most influential ranking is presented in Business Week every year. And what is interesting about those ratings is that you see that the brand value often is more than 50% of the total market capitalization. So today many companies realize that brands are important. But a strong brand isn't something that you just get. It is something that you deserve. So in order to build a strong brand, you have to orient your business towards brand building. And of course, companies doesn't always have the focus on brands. It was in the late 80s that the strong interest for brands that we see today started. And it was because of some very spectacular takeovers where companies paid a lot of more than they used to do when they bought brands. I think it was Kraft was bought by Philip Morris for $13 billion US, and that was 5 times the book value. And Nestlé bought Roundtree for 5 times the book value as well. So then financial analysts, they realized, oh, there is an asset here that we haven't seen before, and that was brands. So the difference between 1988 after and before was like, before 88 you bought a pasta factory, and after 88 you bought Buitoni, and that is a pasta brand. And that is of course a totally different business model to buy production capacity or buy a brand. It's a totally different way of running your business. So let's have a quick review of different orientations that companies have within their business. And the guy here, Henry Ford, he is often seen as the role model for being production-oriented. And he has a famous quote that says, "Any customer can have a car painted in any color that he wants as long as it's black." So that was Henry Ford's view of the customer. And that was because the color black, it dried faster from the production line. And that was the main focus for Henry Ford, to streamline his production line and be more and more efficient. And actually he was very right, because the demand was so much higher than the supply. So every car that Henry Ford made, he could sell. So actually he was very right on focusing on the production. But when competition increases, You cannot just be production-oriented. That is to know your factory. You have to also know the customer. And many companies started to talk about to have the customer in focus, and that all decisions should be filtered through what do our customers think of this? How will they react to something? So that was after production-oriented. Then companies started to talk about customer orientation. And then we had market orientation, and that adds another layer. Except from the customer, you should also have the competitor as a starting point for your decisions. And today we have brand orientation. And that was coined by two Swedish scholars at Lund University in Sweden. And they said that knowing your customer, it isn't enough, because the customer isn't always right. And knowing your competitor isn't enough either, because if you just follow your competitor, you will turn into a copycat or a Me Too product. So you have to also have a strong integrity and loyalty to your own brand. You have to stay loyal to your heritage and to the brand values that you once came from. As Apple has done with its user-friendliness, and Volvo has done with safety, BMW with driving pleasure, etc. So they have a core that is also very important, except from the customer and the competitor.